Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of the MCR, Mac and me. My name's TJ, and in this segment, I'd like to reflect on some of the commentary that I've heard said on CNN, of all news stations, also known as the Clinton News Network or Network News. Okay, there's a guy on there that's making a name for himself, and the guy's name is Scott Jennings. And given the tone of his speech and the presentation of his data and material, I'm beginning to wonder if he isn't a Trump supporter. He just can't say it on CNN. But anyway, Scott Jennings, CNN. When it was determined that Trump was going to win Tuesday night, election day, CNN, all the talking heads are sitting around the table. Okay. And Scott Jennings is basically throwing water in their face, the proverbial water in their face, we'll say. And I'd just like to briefly read some of what he said, since we were unable to show the video itself. But his words go, "I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids. And they feel like they've been told to just shut up. And when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives," he goes, "I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pore over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex." Information complex, mainstream media. Okay.
Like the reference Dwight Eisenhower made to the military-industrial complex.
Yep. And I'm going to finish out with a couple more sentences here. "We've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true." Oh, I'll tell you what. He's basically saying what we said on our own network wasn't true.
Oh yeah, very often we're just a little tiny channel, a couple of non-journalists, and please don't mistake us for any kind of a news organization. We talk about current events of the day and we give our commentary. That's all we are. And we've been ahead of the curve on quite a few things, I would tell you.
Later in the week, Scott Jennings would be at the panel roundtable again with pretty much the same talking heads, and so he because they go around the table. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Well, it's Scott Jennings' turn. Bang up job, guys. I mean, this never Trump whole complex that grew over the last several years. Nothing has ever failed as hard in politics as this. The Lincoln Project. All these people that built millions upon millions of dollars from Democrat donors, and all the eggs that was put into this basket. The split was amazing. Trump got like 94% of Republicans. I don't think they accomplished anything, they being the Lincoln Project. I don't think they accomplished anything except probably build a bunch of beach houses. That's about what they did." And then he would say a few sentences later, "Republicans being lectured to, condescended to, browbeaten by all these folks over the last few weeks. Look at some of the juncture. It's okay if we have different opinions about this election. You don't have to beat people to death over it. And the more you do that, the more it drives people away. Total failure."
Well, I think it comes down to this. It was the awake versus the woke.
Yeah.
And we saw who won.
And, like I said, this is Scott Jennings taking it to him on CNN. Okay. And by the way, if you Google Scott Jennings, you'll see these video clips if you in any way doubt the transcript I have in front of me here. Okay.
Well,
so by all means, fact check me.
I love living in a red state again.
Oh yeah. Too bad we didn't win the Senate race.
Well, yeah.
The next guy up on CNN, a guy by the name of Harry Enton. And I will confess, prior to the election, he was making some predictions. He was going down. He was giving a statistical breakdown of demographics, saying if this holds, Trump's going to win. And I was looking at it. I was looking at the clip, hearing what he was saying, and I confess I wasn't very optimistic. In fact, Mac was more optimistic than me. Shame on me, I guess you could say. But Harry Enton had some words about how the election played out. Because he was basically predicting Trump victory. Let's see, did it say Trump's victory was historic on many levels. Democrats still have not fully grasped how bad it was for them. It's his premise. They still haven't gotten it. Harry Enton is making the case. They
correct.
Still haven't gotten it. And then he goes, look at the 2020. Look at Trump's gains over the 2020 electoral loss. And then he goes, and then he references the 2024 election. More states, 49 plus DC, swung in his direction versus last election than anyone since 1992. So he's saying, he goes, you got to go back to 1992 before you see any kind of this kind of political swing. Best GOP showing with age group 18 to 29 in 20 years. Black voters in 48 years. Hispanics in 52 plus years. Best GOP showing in House popular vote in a presidential year since 1928. So says Harry Enton.
And you go back to they don't get it. Joy Reid was essentially, and I'm not going to quote her because I don't have it in front of me, but she alluded to the idea that Latinos are the new white supremacists.
Oh, yeah.
So, here's another thing. So, you know what? If you want to get those people's votes, let's call them white supremacists.
Anyways, I touche to Scott Jennings, and even a touche to Harry Enton. I've listened. I've seen and heard less of Harry Enton than I have Scott Jennings. How this guy has a job on CNN still, how he got hired, how he's not been fired, remains a mystery to me, because you wouldn't hear. You know what? I don't know if you hear stuff like this on Fox.
Well, after Biden was allegedly elected in 2020, there was this big shift at Fox. The Shepard Smiths of the world. And it occurred to me then, these people are nothing more than actors. And they're playing a part. And if a conservative is in charge, or that's the trend of the country, then that's what they are. But as soon as that's not the case, well, then they're the other way.
And without naming names, I think Scott Jennings was referring to them too, because he was referring to everybody.
Where is Shepard? Shepard Smith is like Waldo. Where is he?
Yeah, he's out in the wilderness somewhere.
Yeah.
One final note, because I got a little news blurb here, and I don't quite know where to put it. So we'll end with this: is trolling the Democrat Party. You could even say Kamala Harris. He's trolling them in that Kamala Harris spent $1 billion in 3 months. Okay, or less than 3 months, or however long she was campaigning. She spent $1 billion, and the report is she's something like 20 million in debt. Okay, so Trump trolls her, on truth. I'm very surprised that the Democrats, who fought a hard and valiant fight in the 2020 presidential election, raising a record didn't have lots of dollars left over. Now they are being squeezed by vendors and others. And, he said 2020, so I don't know if he meant 2024 or what here. But anyways, raised a record amount of money, didn't have lots of dollars left over. Now they are being squeezed by vendors and others. Whatever we can do to help them during this difficult period, I would strongly recommend we, as a party, and for the sake of desperate needed unity, we have a lot of money left over in our biggest asset in the campaign was earned media. And that doesn't cost much. Make America great again. I guess what Trump was saying was he basically used the media to get his message out, with his rallies. And
he used the alternative media for sure, that being Joe Rogan and others of that ilk.
Joe Rogan, that Theo Von guy, which I never even heard of till just
me either
recently. But he went on it. J.D. Vance went on it, and it was pretty obvious that neither Kamala Harris or Waltz could sustain that type of endeavor, and they just totally him and Vance just totally outclassed Harris and Waltz.
I didn't think I could think less of the people in Minnesota until I saw Tim Waltz on display.
You know, it's odd that you say that because I kind of had similar thoughts. Like, how did they vote this guy into office? Is what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Who the
How?
hell ran against him? Mussolini? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well, you know what? Whatever. How does he even remain in office now? Is the next question. So anyway, that's all I have for this topic. Bravo to Scott Jennings. Uh, Hopefully, we'll see what else he has to say down the road here in the future. Hopefully, he doesn't uh, disappoint me. That's all I got. Any final thoughts there, Mac?
no.
Nope. All right. We'll call this one a wrap. Thanks, everyone. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.